Body Bags, where horror lies.
Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to week 29 here on Body Bags. I am of course your host Moodz616, and thank you once again for stopping in. Alrighty guys, week 29, another non-theme week, so we are free to choose whatever we want. And I had no choice, I had to do this one. I just got this in the mail a few days back, and I seen this originally on Hormacop Crazy's, one of his DVD Blu-ray updates, and he showed this one off, and I had to pick it up just because of the name alone. I didn't even realize that it's actually a Canadian film distributed by Black Fawn Distributions. Apparently it's a Canadian company. They have about 3 releases right now. And the title I'm going to review goes by the title of The Legend of the Psychotic Forest Ranger. I mean, with a title like that alone, you pretty much have to pick this up. It was pretty cheap. I think it was about $14, so. But I'll support these independent distribution companies. Pretty cool stuff. But yeah, it has a tagline of, he just wants to ask you a few questions. We'll get into that in a minute. So getting into the plot of this film, it's basically about, 4 friends, 2 guys and 2 girls. They're not 2 couples. And anyways, they're on their way to, I'm assuming it's kind of like, they just finished high school and stuff. Anyways, they decide to go on a camping trip. And of course, they, on their way to, to the forest to go camping, they actually run out of fuel. And so what they do is they actually find this cabin, this forest ranger cabin kind of deal, and they set up shop there, and of course this cabin has all the amenities. It has food, it has everything going on, which is funny in itself. But anyway, so they set up shop there, and so they are, basically, sitting in this house, drinking, having fun, doing what they're supposed to be doing and stuff. You hear a knock on the door. It's this younger forest ranger kind of guy. He's really, really weird and creepy, asking him a whole pile of questions and stuff. Anyways, they kind of, let him go and whatnot, go back to doing their partying and stuff. Anyways, later on, they end up running into basically the doppelgangers of themselves. It's never mentioned in the film. No one ever brings up the fact that they run into 4 people who look identical to them. It's kind of like the Seinfeld episode, the Bizarro World episode. They run into 4 people that are exactly the same as them. So, anyways, these guys are kind of stranded too or whatnot. They become friends and they start partying and stuff. And then, of course, they start getting picked off one by one by the psychotic forest ranger. So, that's the the synopsis of the film. Now, my thoughts on this one. Now, in the beginning of the film, it does give you a little brief. It shows about 40 years earlier, and it shows a quick little clip of the forest ranger attacking some young couple in the forest and whatnot. And it jumps to it says present day, which is 40 years later. But this movie's set in the 80s. It never actually says when it's set, but it's obviously set in the 80s. You can tell by the clothes and the radios and cell phones and stuff like that in the cars. I do like that. It doesn't really feel like an 80s film though. It's very clean. It's shot very clean. But it doesn't really have that, that kind of nostalgic 80s feel to it. But now this movie's plagued with really, really bad dialogue. Wow, the dialogue is really fucking poor in this film, man. It's written really bad. The screenplay's terrible. Now, I know this is meant to be kind of like a horror slasher kind of deal, a comedy slasher kind of deal. But, at the same time, you could probably have a little better dialogue than what it has. It's really kind of aggravating to listen to. It's just really fucking bad, man. I like really bad, cheesy slasher films. This one, is on that level, but it just has really piss-poor dialogue, which is very offsetting and very aggravating to watch. For the kills in the film, very poorly done. Super low budget. They're really, every kill is cut away. They don't really show anything. There's a little bit of blood here and there and stuff, but they don't show any of the kills, which sucks. It's the whole point of a slasher film is to have good kills. You know, you don't have to have the most witty dialogue. You know, it does help if it's not annoying. But yeah, the kills were very kind of poorly done in this. You know, the body count was decent for what it was. There's a lot of people that ended up getting killed in this film, but yeah, they just weren't done very well. Yeah, and that really takes away from it. You know, you're expecting from this throwback kind of 80s to have better slasher, or better, you know, kills in the slasher film, but it just doesn't have it. I really did kind of like the killer, the forest ranger. He talks in really bad puns and really bad one-liners, like, you know, he just wants to ask you another question. That's pretty much how he talks in the film. It's all one-liners like that. He says stupid things like, you know, like Smokey the Bear comments and shit like that. He was kind of funny. Very, very fucking cheesy. Very cheesy. But yeah, you know, the dialogue really hurts this one. It takes a long time for it to get going. It runs about 80 minutes, and I think about halfway through the film is when you finally start seeing some of these kids get picked off. So, you know, overall, it falls very short. It's kind of bland. You know, the dialogue just, wow. You have to see it to believe it. It's really bad. You know, I just can't recommend this film. I really wanted to like this movie a lot by the name of it, the cover art, which is fantastic. But it falls short. It falls into that, you know, that kind of that pot of, you know, throwback slasher films that just really don't work. I wish it had more of a kind of a not a grindhouse feel, but just a little less clean, I think. It's the kills, man, and the dialogue that fucking murdered this one for me. So, but yeah, if I had to rate it, I'd probably just give it like a 4 out of 10. It's nothing special at all. It's got really no story to it. It's just about a forest ranger going crazy. But it even says on the back, you know, full of plot holes, cheesy dialogue. Yeah, very, very true. The Legend of the Psychotic Forest Ranger is a horror that movie straight out of the 80s. I don't know. The clothes were kind of authentic, but that's about it. Just couldn't get past, like, listening to the movie, and there's a lot of dialogue in this, actually. You know, it's just not witty, in my opinion, so. But yeah, 4 out of 10 for the Legend of the Psychotic Forest Ranger. Yeah, sorry guys, I just can't recommend this one. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but, you know, it's lower than 5, so. But anyways, guys, week 29 here, so next week is week 30, which I believe is a theme week, so, no, it's next week theme week? I don't know. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for week 29. Sorry I sound like shit right now, I'm really stuffed up, my allergies are fucking up again. But, yeah, guys, we'll be back next week. Hope you enjoyed the review. Peace out, homies.